Think. Find the highway. Put some ground between yourself and the bus.
So it seems our trip to Wayside Max has taken a little bit of a detour, and Murphy now finds himself at the bottom of this ravine, completely alone. Now, as we saw from that tooltip just now, we do have access to Murphy's journal. If we take a quick look at that, we'll see it's pretty sparse on information right now, but this will actually be a pretty useful information repository for later on, especially for maps and other notes and things like that. But it's pretty clear what we have to do for right now, which is put some distance between ourselves and the bus.
Whoa! Guess I'm not going that way.
Yeah, it seems that there was a rather unnatural disaster that has pretty much tore across the entire landscape. But that doesn't mean we are completely left without places to go. No. Pretty clear by the blinking of the bus lights that's trying to draw our attention towards that down tree there. It does still leave in a question though, where is everybody else that was on the bus?
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
But that particular jump scare was actually to draw our attention to the crack in the wall over here. So just wiggle our way through it.
This didn't happen in the accident.
And we come across a rather savaged prisoner from the bus. But more importantly, we do come across the very important flashlight. Yeah, the flashlight we can either hold in our hand or clip onto our belt, but realistically, there is rarely ever a reason to hold it in your hand. You also get a nice view of this very calm lake. Now, if it wasn't for all the blood and the dead body there, this would actually be a pretty calm place.
Crazy.
Yeah, as we cross this very deep chasm, we come across another new game mechanic, the balancing beam. Pretty much just a way to slow us down temporarily and to give us all a case of vertigo. It's actually pretty simple to keep your balance, just pressing left and right depending on how far Murphy is bending over in a particular direction. With no other choice, I guess we just have to keep pressing forward.
That's far enough. Get your ass down on the ground now. Hands where I can see them. Do it.
Take it easy. I'm not going anywhere.
I said, on the ground, now.
I was just looking for help.
And you just happened to lose your cuffs in the process? Save the bullshit.
This is stupid. I'll meet you back down at the bus, okay? You're gonna get yourself killed.
Shut up. Keep your goddamn hands where I can see them. Ah! Shit! Pull me up.
So the Silent Hill series has been known to give people the option of making both good and bad choices for the protagonist, and Downpour is no exception. So we're actually going to be showing off both options here, with the help her option first.
Hang on!
I'm slipping. Oh God!
Don't let go! Don't! Shit!
And then the evil option.
Damn it! And if I pull you up, you're just gonna let me go? That the deal?
I'm not asking, goddammit. Pull me up.
I am not going back to prison.
Help me!
Sorry.
If only I'd moved faster. Damn it.
We saw there very different sides to Murphy's personality, but with invariably the same outcome. Really kind of a shame we couldn't have helped her. But just like that, we do find ourselves back on the supposed highway where I assume the bus was going along.
Jesus.
But in classic Silent Hill fashion, we see that the roads are pretty tore up, limiting which ways we can actually go. Now, as we enter this gas station, there are a few points of interest for us to look at here. First and foremost is this piece of paper on the bench here, which is actually our very first map. Now, initially it may not seem like much, but in these early parts of the game, we will find that we are very limited in places we can go. And you may notice on the map there was what appeared to be Overlook Penitentiary, which is actually a nod to Silent Hill Homecoming. You also see a few pieces of background flavor text. They actually are something important that we'll need to keep in mind for later. We find a boombox here, belling out static. Really not too important for right now. It's mostly just, well, they'll become rarely important later. We should also probably keep an eye out for Carl. Wouldn't mind that $500 reward.
Something is very wrong here.
Yet another very deep chasm. In case you were wondering how deep, let's go ahead and chuck a stone in there and see if we can hear it fall.
Duh!
Guess not. So it seems we're going to have to find another way around. Maybe there's a back entrance to this gas station here. We might as well arm ourselves as well.
I could break this lock with the right tool.
Yeah, we will see a couple of doors that are actually locked that we can open up with a banging with a melee weapon. Not too much of a problem. We also get a small tutorial here about the fact that we can actually throw pretty much any of the weapons we get in the game. But as you can probably tell, with the lack of crosshair, it can be a bit cumbersome to do. And really, it never comes up as a very useful thing to do at all. That seems like a very odd place to leave a wheelchair. Doesn't seem like there's much wheelchair accessibility up here on the roof. But more importantly, we do find the walkie-talkie. Now, this does not actually serve the same purpose as the radio in other Silent Hill games. What this does is actually just give us a bit of narrative, I suppose, at very key points in the game. It actually really doesn't ever come up. And with another cave-in, we find ourselves at yet another point of no return. Now, as to what this particular building is, actually not sure, but if we look at this flyer here, advertises something called the Devil's Pit Aerial Tram. It does seem as if the game machine we might be looking for was dragged away. And it seems to be the only way for us to get a ticket. But there is at least one other thing we can do while we are up here, which is actually to turn on the power to the tram. I guess this is going to be our destination. I'm really not sure as of why for right now. Just seems to be the only real place accessible to us. Now, as we do follow these tracks, I do want to probably point out a bit of confusion here. It may seem like a lot of these places just have nothing at all to do with Silent Hill, and, well, like I said earlier, this is a bit of a side story, so it just kind of makes up new locations and spots for us to go to, rather than just kindly nodding us back to other previous locations in Silent Hill. I mean, I didn't even know that Silent Hill had a big aerial tram.
Looks like it opens from the other side.
Yeah, much like the gas station, we're going to have to find some other means to get around. Maybe the nice people that live in this house will let us in. Or maybe the house is just abandoned, who knows? Seems like a really dilapidated area. I guess maybe the Devil's Pit just really isn't bringing in as many people as it did before.
Wow. Look at that. An old 52. Flathead V8. No doubt about it.
Wicked old beast, ain't she?
What?
I said she's a wicked old beast. Me, I'm partial to something with a little less rust. But to each his own.
Look, I don't want any trouble. Just point the way out of town, and I'll keep right on going.
Now who said anything about trouble? Just trying to be helpful, son. Name's Howard, by the way.
Murphy.
Heading to prison, are you, Murphy?
Just looking for a way out of town is all.
That's so. Afraid all the roads are out, every last one of them. Strangest thing.
What the
Something wrong, son?
Did you see it? Up there in the window. Never mind.
I suppose if you're really desperate, you could try the old sky tram. Course it hasn't really been kept up since the accident.
I'll take my chances.
That's the spirit. Well, this mail ain't gonna deliver itself. Good luck, Murphy. Hope you find whatever it is you're looking for.
Hey, what's the name of this place?
Well, that certainly was a helpful mailman. But he did mention an accident, which I guess could explain why this place seems so run down and devoid of life. But Murphy was wondering where we are, and there is a nearby sign here to tell us that we are actually just on the outskirts of Silent Hill. You may also notice that there is a slight change in the weather. This is actually the first time we start to see the incredibly nice rain effects that the game has. But we certainly don't want to catch a cold by staying out here in the rain, so let's just check and see if we can't get into this diner. Well, there is a locked door there, but I guess we should explore a little bit more of the backyard.
You can't undo anything you've already done, but you can face up to it.
Man. I must have hit my head pretty damn hard in the crash.
That is another reason to check out this little area back here. It gives us that little speech. Still not sure who that might be for right now, but we will be finding out later.
Hello? Anyone here?
We see the interior of the diner is in as much of a state of disarray as the house adjoining to it. Rather oddly, though, we do see that there is bits of food going rancid, just kind of sitting around. It doesn't really say totally abandoned to me. We also find a map for the area. Kind of makes it seem like this particular area isn't really big enough to really need a map, but who knows? Maybe we'll get lost. We also find on the table over here our first flavor note of the game, which the game refers to as mysteries. You can pause this at your own leisure. It just gives us a little bit more backstory about the Devil's Pit. But you know what's really getting my attention is this jukebox here. Seems to be the most well-lit and illuminated item in the room. Kind of get a feeling that we should figure out some means to get that thing operating, but we also find here the one type of healing item in the game. The first aid kit will heal Murphy for about half of his total life, and it's actually going to be a good idea to keep as many of these on hand as possible. But considering that we are a little bit low on money, I'm sure the owners of the diner won't mind if we get a little bit out of the till.
They won't miss us.
Now, if this song does seem somewhat familiar to some of you, it's actually from Silent Hill 1. It was used as the theme music at the start of the game. And it's a pretty interesting little Easter egg, one of the few that we will find in the game.
What's that? Gas?
But let's go ahead and turn this off. It can't really help to have a bunch of gas billowing out into the open air.
Oh, shit! Fire. Anyone hear me? Fire!
Now, this is certainly unwanted and unexpected. Let's go ahead and set off the fire alarm over here. There we go, problem solved.
What the hell? What the hell is this?
Or problem not solved.
Shit. If the water reaches that breaker box.
Yeah, it is an instant death trap if you don't turn off the water quick enough. And as the water seeps its way out, I'll hope you'll join me next time for more Downpour.